Today, we talk about bucket lists. That term totally sucks, doesn't it? I hate the term bucket list. In fact, I used to call mine my life list because I hated that term so much, and then I started getting a bunch of Google traffic, and so I pretty much just had to optimize for it. But the whole reason Location 180 exists is because I created my bucket list. I wasn't doing the things I wanted to do in my life, so I created a list of all the things I wanted to do, and Location 180 was my vehicle for holding myself accountable for doing that. And over the last couple of years, I've done a lot of really cool stuff. Like, I've driven a Ferrari. I went to Cuba and smoked a cigar. Cuban Cohiba, less than $6 with the Cristal, the Cuban beer. So I lived on a tropical island.
Got my drink and my two-step, my drink and my two-step, got my drink and my two-step, my drink and my two-step, it's on, it's on, it's on.
I went dancing in the carnival parade. I climbed a mountain.
We made it. We're at the summit. I feel like I'm gonna die and I have no idea how I'm gonna get down, but we're here. Victory!
And I'm not saying, well, I'm kind of saying this stuff to brag. It was pretty cool. But my point is that I made this list when I was in my suit and tie wearing job, and I was really unhappy. And the thought of doing any of these things, let alone the few dozen that I've knocked off, was next to impossible to me. So I'm telling you right now, you can do it too. You just have to create a list. You have to get started. And in this post, that's what I'm going to teach you how to do. We're going to teach you how to make a bucket list, but not only that, how to actually start crossing all of the things off that list. So you ready to do this? Cool. Let's jump into it. All right. Focus, good? Mind focus? All right. Step number 1. Don't try and do it all at once. If you sit down and you're like, what do I want to do with my life? You're going to get like 15 or 20 things into it, and it's going to be all generic things like go to New York City, go to the Eiffel Tower. It's all going to be travel related, so don't try and do that. Sit down, write out everything that comes to mind immediately, and then move on to something else. Your bucket list is a fluid thing. You don't have to write it all at once. Once you write the list, it's not set in stone. You can continue to update it and add different things. So don't try and do it all at once. You'll get frustrated. It's going to be a lot harder than you think. So don't think that you have to do that. Okay? Got me there? Good. 2, make goals for each different bucket in your bucket list. Does that make sense? Have different buckets in your bucket list, right? Okay. Glad we got that straight. But what I mean by that, whoa. What I mean by that is don't just make them all travel-related goals. Have goals for your relationships, for business and finance, for your career, for your hobbies, for travel. It's also going to make you feel a lot more accomplished because you're not accomplishing just one segment of your life. You're doing things across the broad spectrum of your life. So every time you hit a relationship goal or a career goal or a travel goal, you're going to feel more successful and you're going to feel like you want to keep moving forward. Number 3. Have a mix of really, really easy things and really, really hard things and everything in between. The mistake a lot of people make is they start writing out their list and it's all things that it's like, I'll do this one day. Like, I'll get this done eventually. You get your 2 weeks of vacation. You can only take so many exotic trips every year. So what you want to do is you want to have things that you can get accomplished on a random Saturday. For instance, skydiving is actually really easy to do.
Yes, I can. Doubt better leave. I'm running with this plan. Pull me, grab us in the bucket, can't have me. I'll be the president one day.
Regardless of where you live, you can pretty much find a place probably within a couple hours of you where you pay a couple $100 and someone will let you jump out of a plane with them. You put it that way, it doesn't seem so smart, but you can do it. That's an easy thing. Then I also have really elaborate goals like sell a house for a profit, which I'm actually getting kind of close to. It's been years in the making. So if I were to sell this house today, it would actually be sold for a profit, which is pretty cool. So the reason for doing this is you just want to make sure you're making continual progress. You don't want to hit a point where you're like, oh my God, there's nothing on this list that I can actually do anytime soon. I had a goal. I wanted to knock one thing off a month. So I think that's a pretty good goal for starting out. So have a few hard things, have some travel things, and continually try and move through those. Number 4, this one's super simple. review it once a quarter. You're not actually going to accomplish anything if you don't look at it. And then that gives you the opportunity to say, you know what, I'm not interested in this. Cross it off, get it out of there, bring something else in there. So you want to make sure that everything that's on your list are things that are goals that are actually meaningful for you. I have things that are on my list from 5 years ago that probably need to be taken off that just don't really do it for me anymore. You know, I think one of the things is learn to code my own website. You know what? I don't have time for that shit. Okay? Can I say shit on here? My blog. Guess I can do whatever I want. I don't have time for that. I'm just going to hire someone to do it. It's not worth it to me. So that's going to come out of there, and we're going to bring something cool back in. Number 5, also super simple. Set dates to everything. When do you actually want to accomplish this by? By setting dates, you actually have something to work towards, rather than this like ambiguous thing that's like floating out in the ether that's probably never going to happen. So if you've got this goal of going to Spain to run with the Bulls, put down a date. When do you think you can feasibly take a trip like this? And then some of the easier ones, like the random Saturday activities, like creating your list of top 100 albums of all time, you don't necessarily have to have a date on there. I like to pull those out when I feel like I haven't made progress in a long time. So it's like, boom, I can do this. And then it's like, great, I'm making progress again. We're moving forward. Yes. Number 6, 7, 6 or 7, whatever number it is. Include both very specific and very broad goals. So go to New York City, very specific goal. Play Augusta National Golf Club, very specific goal. I still haven't done that yet, so if you happen to know anyone, send them my way. But I had something on my list that is do something newsworthy. So this is interesting because it could be any number of things. And so the way I actually accomplished this was I ran a marathon without training, which was totally stupid, but the BBC covered it and did a whole write-up, and that was actually pretty cool.
Everybody's choking now, the clock's run out, time's up, over, loud, snap back to reality, oh, there goes gravity, oh, there goes gravity, choke, he's so mad but he won't give up, that is he know, he won't have.
So, I like the things that keep a little intrigue and mystery. It's not like a super specific, oh, I've got to go check this off. It's like, oh, I've got to create a cool photograph. One of the things on my list is I want to play tennis with a current or former top 10 tennis player. So it's, pretty specific, but it could be any number of hundreds of people that I could go play with. So that keeps it, kind of fun. Have coffee with a Fortune 500 CEO or chairman. That's something that is pretty specific, but could be any number of people. So have some broad goals, have some specific goals, and that's going to keep kind of the adventurous aspect of this going. Number 7, have a list within a list. So one of the things I started doing was I had a bunch of golf-related goals. I wanted to play Pebble Beach. I wanted to play Bandon Dunes. Like I mentioned, I want to play Augusta National. So I really realized that God, I need to learn to talk. I figured out that I had a real passion for this whole golf thing. So I created a new quest where I was going to play the top 100 golf courses in the United States and the top 100 golf courses in the world. I'm about a quarter of the way through both of those lists, and even though it's kind of different than my bucket list, it's a great side quest that is something I'm really passionate about. So if you have a hobby, maybe you want to photograph 50 different, famous places, or maybe you want to ski on a bunch of different mountains, like whatever your hobbies are, that's a great way you can do a list within a list, and that kind of keeps things interesting and allows you to have some more fun with it. Finally, have something you can do today. Write something down. What's something you've always wanted to do that you can go out right now, today, and get done? That first check off the list is like the best feeling ever, where you're like, check, done, making progress. Have at least one or two of those things that you get done today, this week, or even include a couple things that you've already done so that you feel like you actually have made progress on this. When I created my list, I added a dance in the carnival parade and go hang gliding. Both of those were things that I did a couple months prior in Rio, so they were things I'd always wanted to do. I just never formally written them on the list. So I wrote them on my list, I crossed them off, and it made me feel like I'd already made progress, and it made me want to cross off even more things. So that is how I would go about creating a bucket list. That is how I would actually go about starting to do the things on the bucket list. If you enjoyed this video, you know what I'm going to say. Subscribe, thumbs up, maybe 2 thumbs up if you can do that. We have new videos every Thursday. Like I said, I'm struggling with this one, so hopefully it was at least moderately entertaining. Hopefully I can, put in a bunch of cool content, so you don't have to listen to me ramble and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm tired. I need to go take a nap or something. So with that, I'm out. Peace. See you later.